So if you could stay muted during the program, I will allow you guys all to speak during the Q&A, so you don't have to type in your questions in the Q&A or chat. But if you do have them as we go along, please feel free to type in any questions you want into the Q&A or chat box. I'll try to stop as we go. We're going to have one GBCI General CEU available for this course. I'll give you this all information at the end. I'll send you an email with the video recording of this and also all the slides and all this information in the body of the email, so you guys can use that to self-report to GBCI. So I'm going to start with some pre-presentation poll questions. So let me launch that right now. I'd appreciate if you guys could answer. So first, what role do you play on a green or LEED project? How often do you search for sustainability data related to LEED on the projects you work on? How many hours would you say you spend searching for eco data while working on an entire LEED project from beginning to end in your role? And then on a scale of 1 to 4, how difficult is searching, finding, organizing, and documenting this LEED compliant data, 4 being the hardest and 1 being super easy? So thank you for those of you that are jumping in and answering the questions. The more answers I get, the better I can kind of take a look at where you guys are at in your journey, and I can provide more insight as to how our platform is designed to help. Thank you guys. I'll give you guys another minute and then we'll get rolling. So thank you for those of you that have answered. Got a 55% participation. That's pretty good for a Tuesday. Everyone's having a good summer. All right, we'll close the poll down and I'll share the results with you guys. So pretty good. It seems like some of you guys don't really typically look for the sustainability data, but some of you guys do it quarterly and monthly. Some of you do it daily. So that'll provide you guys a lot of assistance on the whole finding the data. I call it the sustainability scavenger hunt. The hours, thank you for that. And then how easy and difficult it is. I appreciate you guys giving us that feedback loop. That always helps us make our platform better. So the objectives today, we're going to cover a little bit of background on the USGBC Better Materials Program. I don't know how many of you guys have sat through a presentation on it, but we'll kind of very quickly show you why they decided to do it and how that certification data is utilized and what tools are out there to help you with that. They also create a program called Verified for LEED that kind of goes through LEED documentation, contribution analysis from the GBCI's perspective directly for a manufacturer instead of you having to do it through a LEED online submittal. It actually looks at the data irrespective of a certain project and just takes a look at the raw data and says if these certifications line with these credits. We'll then take a look at some of the credits that have been mapped through the Better Materials Program and platform. And then the last thing we'll do is we'll cover in a live demo how the ecomedes platform is part of the Better Materials Program, but also how it helps you discover building products that meet the sustainability goals you've set out for, conduct comparisons. We'll go through an example on an energy and water savings impact calculation, and then also how you guys can create documentation for LEED projects for multiple products across multiple certifications all at once and all for free. So we'll take a look at that. So the main mission that the Better Materials Program was kind of thought through on is to do 3 main things: accelerate, simplify, and scale. So they wanted to take a look at how they can make LEED easier to deploy, simplify it, and obviously if it gets more simplified, it can scale. Having done this for the last 23 years of my life, it's really, really hard to scale something that's complex. And obviously green buildings and sustainability in general are pretty simple at their base form, but when you actually try to do all the documentation for a big building, you know, some commercial buildings I've worked on had 5,000 independent ingredients. It's hard to go through all that kind of data on a product by product basis. So we've always strived to make that a little bit easier. And that's what the Better Materials Program is trying to do. So prior to the Better Materials Program, you know, product manufacturers get a bunch of data. They put it out on a lot of different product platforms like ours. There's others like Origin or Spot, Building Material Scout, Sustainable Minds, or On Greening. And all the time we're kind of just bouncing data around. Project teams would need to go to lots of different sources and the manufacturer. And then finally that would get submitted for LEED review. And it was a repetitive process. And it took a lot of steps and actually a lot of opportunities for something to get dropped or someone to kind of, you know, get lost on a little scavenger hunt or rabbit hole on the internet and kind of never come back. And the USGBC did some interviewing and some research, and they found that on average, a product team has to access at least 25 pages of product documentation and interpret up to 45 parameters. And this has to be repeated on every single product. A little fact, when I first built ecomedes back in 2016, we had about 25 different attributes we needed, and we could score almost any product against LEED. Fast forward a couple years, V4 comes out. we now have over 3,000 parameters in our database that we're pulling in from manufacturers, eco-labels, certification bodies, and standards, and bringing it all to available. And they're all independent variables dealing with some form of green product data or another. So it's a lot of work that happens, and it happens for every major product, whether it's drywall, carpet, flooring, wall boards, ceiling tiles, furniture, lights, toilets, paint, tile, all that stuff has to go through the pretty rigorous process of analyzing that data. So we wanted to make that simpler. And the Better Materials solution from the USGBC tried to say, what if the product manufacturers can give documentation over in a unified way to the major different rating systems and different databases out there like ours, and then have the GBCI review some of that data, bless off that these databases are good and complete, and that way you guys can search at the GBCI level for better materials, and then we open up those different web browsers for you to kind of make that process a little easier. Kind of like Kayak or Priceline kind of goes and searches out all the hotels, similar kind of concept to green building product data. So the GBCI came up with this idea of like, what if there's one search bar, type in what you're looking for at bettermaterials.gbci.org, that would open up a series of browsers, and those browsers would open up on all the major platforms, of which we're going to show you the ecomedes platform. So it's one search bar, sends a query essentially in the background to all these different sites, and with one search bar, you'll have basically results beamed into your desktop with a couple tabs open at the top for all these different websites to try to give you back that answer as quickly as possible. So bettermaterials.gbci.org, you enter in your thing like flooring, and then all of a sudden you'll see basically at the top of your header, all these different web browsers will open up, and then you'll see all these results things. Our platform, the ecomedes platform, has only products on it that have been pre-vetted for LEED V4 and V4.1. So you'll always, if you go to our platform, which I'll show you the URL in a second, it's always going to be products that have been pre-vetted through certifications and eco labels to be aligned with either the credit language of LEED V4 or LEED V4.1. Verified for LEED is a separate program that basically allowed manufacturers last year and the year before to submit all their certification data, their eco-label data, their EPDs, their HPDs, all that stuff, declare labels, to the GBCI as if they're a project, and then they would evaluate all the different data, and then the GBCI created a verified for LEED sheet. So it actually showed the contributions already been indicated by a GBCI reviewer as if it had come through a project. So that's another program called Verified for LEED, and I'll show you how you can search for those products that are already on the database. So Better Materials, our version of that platform, the URL is materialsforleed.ecomedes.com. We'll give you guys a little bit of a platform orientation showing you how we support the LEED credits in the system and how we grab the data that's available to us from registries and eco-label partners out there. So Better Materials platform for us, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. Anyone can use it. It can be used by an architect, an engineer, contractor, subcontractor, consultant, building owner, facility manager. We don't care who uses it. It's always open and free. Just go to that URL. You can sign up for an account. All we need is your email address and your password and your name, and you'll be able to store your project data. I'll show you why that's important, so you can store as many projects worth of data. But it basically gives you a little spot on our server where you can grab multiple products that you're interested into, call them a project, and then evaluate with one click any of the LEED rating systems or multiple ones if you want to kind of compare V4.1 and 4.0 to one another. But it's a curated database of all LEED compliant products. So nothing you're going to see on this page, on this web page at all, will be not compliant with LEED. At the very top, we have a verified for LEED filter. So you can just grab the 400 so products that already have gone through that beta. Then you can actually search by rating system, category, or division. All the eco-label and certification data is updated monthly directly from the sources. I'll show you where in the tool it actually tells you what source gave us the data, and it'll give you the actual date of the last update. So you always know the freshness date of the data. Many products have multiple sources of data coming in. So you might have a single chair from a Herman Miller human scale, and there might be 6 certificates in there. All of them are source stamped and date stamped to that ability. It allows you to do very simple search and discovery. We want to make it as easy as possible to use this platform. You don't need to be a LEED AP, you don't need to be a LEED faculty member, as long as you can kind of go through categories, CSI divisions, or look by eco-label or credit, or even just type the brand name at the top. You'll see the entire catalog of products that have been pre-vetted for LEED. We have some really cool analysis at the product level you could do for LEED credits. ROI, energy, and water calculators are baked in. You can do project level documentation. So grab all the things you like during your research phase, throw them all into a project, name it, and then you can just keep them in there. You can remove SKUs, put them in however you like. You're changing your mind, that's fine. Value engineering will happen, but it all keeps all that data straight and also goes back and grabs all the data as it's being updated until you decide to hit PDF. You can do a project management dashboard. It'll show you all your projects, give you kind of a nice little overview, and you can create as many projects as you want. There's no limit to that. Again, it's free. There's no like pro version where you have to pay more money for it. It's always free for you guys to use ecomedes. So we'll go through a couple credits just to kind of show you the credit language in LEED v4.1 and then how our platform kind of goes out there and does some of that research for you, available to you, again, 24 hours a day. It's kind of basically a free LEED consultant that will help you with your work. So we're going to cover four credit categories: materials and resources. We'll do the EPD credit, the sourcing of raw materials, material ingredients, and their indoor environmental quality. We'll cover low emitting materials for up to 3 points. So without any further ado, I will show you that the Verified for LEED program, like I said before, if you were to click on that one filter at the very top of our page, it'll open up the 427 products. And then just that quickly, you also see the categories that they're in. Anywhere in our system where you see parentheses, numbers inside of parentheses, that's how many total products with that certification, with that categorization, are existing in our platform. So the vast majority of the products that have gone through this are building finishes, 17 are furnishings, one's a construction material, and 3 are doors and windows. So 15 manufacturers willingly participated by giving over the GBCI all their data, and then the GBCI reviewed that data as if it was a credit submission for a project. And then those were reviewed for both LEED v4 and 4.1 compliance. So as you go into this tool, you'll see anytime you create a filter, all the rest of the results will actually recategorize themselves. And then you'll see whatever number of those products that are in Verified for LEED that also have, say, an EPD or an Energy Star certificate. So it's designed to be very, very straightforward and very, very easy to run through in a natural kind of search way that you would be searching on Apple or Google or one of the other websites that you search on all the time. So here's LEED B, and C, materials and resources. The first credit we're going to talk about is environmental product declaration. Obviously, a lot of intensity on this search. We're looking for 20 different permanently installed materials from at least 5 different manufacturers that meet the disclosure methodology before. So there's a lot of detail here. What kind of ISO standard did the LCA go through or the EPD go through? What type of ISO standards or EN standards? Is it product specific? Industry-wide, those kind of things. And as you get more and more detailed, you get more and more points totaled into this product kind of evaluation. So you can kind of go through this matrix and find, either that or even optimization points available to go above and beyond. So rather than having to go through all this detail, what we do on the back end of our database is we already have products that have EPDs and products that have LCAs. There's, I think, 32,000 total products in the system right now that have already been vetted for this 2 pieces of data. And within those parameters and in those parentheses, you'll see how many of those products exist. And then you can further refine this by going, oh, okay, now I've met these 2 guidelines. I want to find things in a subcategory like paint or wall covering or, tile installation documents or LVT. All of that you can further refine by category, subcategory, CSI division. You can even go down and say, what kind of an EPD is it? Industry-wide, product specific, optimized. And then you can always look for the brand. There's always a filter at the top. You click on brand, and it'll show you the list of brands. And within the brand list, it'll show you how many products exist that have an EPD or an LCA that meet the guidelines outlined by the USGBC. So it's a very straightforward look at that. The materials and resources credits, the next one up is raw material sourcing. So here we'll take a look at things like extended producer responsibility, USDA biopreferred, wood products with FSC, materials reuse or recycled content. So rather than going out on a kind of a scavenger hunt on Google to go try to find all the products that meet this requirement, with one click, you'll see everything from biopreferred, everything that has an FSC certificate in our database, and all the things that have recycled content. We recently were awarded the work with the EPA. So we're going to be working on an EPA version of recycled content database that'll be published out for both federal buyers and to this website where they're going to curate it down to the directory level. So we'll be doing that similar like how Energy Star and WaterSense is organized. We'll be doing that for the EPA and the recycled content database. I think that should be launching in the next 90 days. So when you log in 90 days, that will be another filter on the left-hand side of this database. So again, you can further refine it by CSI division, brand, or any of the category, subcategory mapping you want to go find maybe wall coverings, furniture, flooring, anything like that can be further refined and meet those guidelines for that credit. Under materials and resources, we have another option on material ingredient reporting. Here, a little more detailed opportunity as well. 20 different permanently installed products from at least 5 different manufacturers, demonstrating a chemical inventory to at least 1/10 of 1% or 1,000 parts per million. So anti-BIFMA is one of the things that's called out. Cradle to cradle, declare, facts, global green tag, health product declaration, living product challenge, material inventory that's publicly available, or product lens certification. Same thing, wherever that data exists available on a registry that's digital, we grab that data for you and we curate that on a monthly basis to make sure it's up to date. So you'll have all of anti-BIFMA level, that's 4,200 products. Cradle to cradle for regular certification, there's 832, material health has 16. Declare as a database, 9,400 products. HPD, there's 33,000, and a living product challenge with 135. And again, these are pretty big result sets. So as you want to further refine it by cradle to cradle level, you can sort cradle to cradle by platinum, gold, silver, and bronze, or subcategory level, CSI division. Anywhere that we have a certification that has multiple layers of it or multiple certification levels, we can actually sort by that, so you can further refine your search. But everything from plumbing to drywall to wall coverings to even toner cartridges and electronics can all be certified to that level of material health, make it easier for you to find those products. One of the last credits here in the materials and resources section would be optimizing the ingredient optimization. Same type of requirements here, going after red list free now or living product certified. So you can go through there and the same thing, the same database can be served up, and then you can further refine it by the CSI division you're working on, or if your specific scope of work is interiors versus construction or engineering, you can always go route and find this information. Again, it's all filterable by the left-hand navigation. When we do the live demo, it'll kind of ring a bell. But every one of these certifications and eco labels are always refactored for you. And then as you refine into a category or subcategory or even a level, you'll see that the numbers of possible choices gets more refined. So therefore the total number of choices gets lower and lower. And the last credit deals with indoor environmental quality credits. Here it's low emitting. They've consolidated a lot of stuff over the years. So here it's about 2 product categories, 3 product categories, 4 product categories, 5 product categories, getting you up to 4 points if you do the full route plus exemplary performance. And here a lot of things are mentioned: CDPH, ultra low urea formaldehyde, CARB, South Coast Air Quality Management District, furniture is anti-BIFMA, composite wood is TC or TSCA or CARB compliant. All that information where available will be pulled right in. So BIFMA, UL Green Guard Gold, SCS Indoor Advantage. We just added an Intertech certification as well. So those certifications that align with CDPH or CARB will all be in there. And the same thing, you just further refine based on the category you might be looking for. We even have some of the newer ones where even like things like bedding for hospitality or multifamily are all being added into the system. So you can kind of see a wide variety of products. But again, all this data is coming in directly from the certification body and lets you shop for compliant products in a very easy and much more manageable way, instead of it just being lots and lots of PDFs. When I first was building this platform out, I looked at a project, and one of my projects had 1,200 PDFs in one folder just called documentation. And it spent, me and the rest of my team spent almost 3 weeks just trying to decide. We just kept building it upon and throwing it in there. And we lost track of which products we actually specified, which ones were just to show the client. And I just thought to myself, I don't ever want to do that again. So here, when we add a product to a project, I'll show you how easy that is and how the documentation, all those hyperlinks and those PDFs exist, but I don't have to have those all downloaded into a folder. It all is done automatically for you. So I'm going to stop right now and see if anyone has any questions. I'm going to go into the tool that allows me to allow you guys to talk. So I'm just going to go in there and allow everyone to be able to unmute themselves and be able to answer or ask questions. So let me know. I'm going to try to get to you guys quickly, but if you guys want, put something in the chat or put it into Q&A. I'll be happy to dive in while I'm doing this, clicking around to add the ability for you guys to talk. So I know that was a lot of information fairly quickly, so I want to make sure I can address everyone's question before we go any further. Let's see any questions popping up. So let me just add everyone to the ability to talk and ask questions. Let's see here. All right, I think I've done that for everyone, so that's good. So we'll go live into the demo. If you guys have another monitor and you guys want to go to materials for LEED, feel free to do that. It's just materialsforleed.ecomedes.com. So if you do want to sign up, you can just go to the sign up login button at the very top right. It's a very straightforward process. It only asks you for your email address. Once you're logged in and you have an account with us, you'll see your name pop up or whatever you used for your name in the upper right-hand corner. And that unlocks the feature of being able to keep projects. So here's just a running total of all the energy and water calculations that I have in my projects. It identifies which projects have energy and water saving features in them. And these are not like engineering, like, HVAC equipment, but it's like lights, toilets, faucets, anything that has like a point load for energy and water that's on Energy Star and WaterSense. We have little calculators that can actually calculate the impact of a plumbing retrofit or a full project worth of stuff. And it keeps all the information and it tells you how many SKUs. So if you're counting towards 20 products from at least 5 manufacturers, will kind of give you that threshold. So once you've overshot the boundary, you can kind of say, okay, I'll get a couple more, but I'm safe. I don't need to kind of go put myself through too much of that stuff. In this example, I went to 20 SKUs specifically to just showcase that. And then I'll tell you which rating systems and standards you're going after. If you ever need to throw one of these projects away and you're done, you can just go in here and hit, delete, and just that quickly it'll take it off your log and it'll confirm that you want to do it and it's gone. So all the data here is always being updated. And I'll just kind of show you what a project looks like before we dive into the search. So as I go in there, I can fill out basically like a title block and then pick a bunch of products that I'm using or my clients using or I'm recommending that they use. And again, this is pulling data from all kinds of different groups. And what's really cool is it takes all the data from this Herman Miller chair, all these data points, including these product-specific EPDs and level certificates. All of that data is built in digitally into that product ID. So I don't have to go look at it. I don't even have to, ask for that EPD. It's all right there, but I know that it's at least coming in, and it shows me right here that NSF is providing this level 3 certificate. It was last updated on May 11th. This EPD is coming in from Herman Miller, and it was last updated by them on the 16th of this month. So everything on here, wherever it comes in from, it'll be actually linked in. And there's even links back to the product page. So if you are on one of our products and you want to know more about that product directly from the manufacturer, many of them have a link directly back to where that Aeron chair is manufactured or who makes it. And just lets you build out all this stuff. So no big folder on your desktop, all this stuff from Toto, USG, Tarkett, Kohler, Herman Miller's all in there. Here's a little water budget calculator. Here's the energy calculator and the water calculator. It can isolate individual products in here. And then the very bottom, it just lets you pick whatever rating systems you want that the US GBC is running currently. So you can add as many of these evaluation mechanisms as you want, hit one button. And what we've done is in a couple seconds here, the server will go out, find all the product data on all these products, give you the $9 million total project cost. And then underneath here, it'll show you every single credit that LEED product, these products in general have aligned with at a product level and at a project level. So here's the overall project summary. And down below, you have all the background data. So that cut sheet that you would have normally had to go get a couple different pieces on is all automatically rolled up in there. And then it tells you individually how each and every one of those products helped you with the LEED credit and actually shows the homework. So it says, you got a point here because it is an EPD. You got $13,000 worth of credit out of a $36,000 purchase because you had 70% pre-consumer recycled content. You got this because you have an HPD, and here's a link directly to the HPD source. So what used to take me a couple of weeks to do on a decent sized project like this, as a consultant, we can do this in a couple of seconds on the tool. Again, it's free. And if you need to download it to show it to the client, share it with the rest of your team, or back it up to your LEED documentation submittal, you can just hit download. The system will render a PDF. It takes a little bit of time to generate something that's kind of print worthy. And then it'll download it either onto your desktop or it'll put right here in the browser. It's taking a little bit of time because it's got a lot of data to pull. But what's nice about this is it'll actually pull down all that subsequent data from the system. And then the PDF is also dynamic. So if you have a PDF that shows, hey, this product got an HPD or an EPD or something like that, when it downloads it and gives you this PDF, you can actually go into the actual cut sheet for that product. And if it has an external link, like a verified for LEED summary, if I click it in the PDF. Anyone that you send it to, it'll send them right to that verified for LEED documentation summary sheet. So it's a very intelligent way of looking at the data that you might need and gives you all the backup documentation, including all the math on how that works. In this case, it's looking for a living product declare challenge. So it'll be the declare certificate, all again, without you having to do anything other than share that PDF with your project team. So I think everyone's allowed to chat. If you want to unmute yourself, please, I'll be happy to answer any questions on this kind of product feature before we go any further. I don't see any typed up, and I don't see anyone unmuting themselves. So I'll keep going. So the easiest way to search is obviously if you go for LEED verified products, the verification document is right there. So if you click on any of these products with this green circle around what we call the baseball card, you'll get that, and then you can just click right into the verification summary. So if you click on that, it'll send you right to that GBCI document. And here you see just, this is option 1, option 2. It tells you exactly what they reviewed, the date of it, the documentation ID. And if it does provide you some points or some kind of a contribution, they'll do the contribution credit right here, and it's highlighted. So this is, the highest view of that. It's copywritten by the GBCI, but they'll give you all the breakdown of why they've reviewed it and why they think this is a verified for LEED product. It's a small pilot. I hope they do more of that because it makes it easier for the project teams. I wish it was around when I was doing this work 10 years ago. Would have simplified my life a lot. But all this data is available. In this case, this human scale product has a lot of technical data, level 3 certificate, a health product declaration. Again, anywhere that we can send you directly to the document, we will send you directly to the document without you having to do all these secondary clicks. So the scavenger hunt just to find data is wild, but it's also tough because many of these product pages on other websites send you on another wild goose chase back to the Living Product Challenge data set or whatever it is. So here, what we wanted to do is make it really easy for you to be able to grab all the data you want without kind of going on an endless scavenger hunt, especially since at the end of most of those scavenger hunts, you're downloading all these individual sheets, and then it's really hard to kind of bring them all back into like one purview. So if I'm on this page and I like it, and it looked like a good product that has all this stuff, I can just very quickly, if I have an account, I can create a new one. So I'm going to call it US GBC CEU, and today is the 19th. So just that quickly, I'm just going to add this product to a brand new project. So if I go up to projects now and I go find my project that I just created, which is right here, it has this one product in there. I don't have anything in the title block yet. It's probably not filled out other than the name. It gives me a zip code because it knew where I'm at based on my server. And then here's the different world. So that entire product data set is now baked into that project. And now I could just answer, well, it's 100 workstations. So I'm going to need 100 of those chairs, and maybe it's an $850 chair. So I hit save, and now all the data associated with that chair, it's 100 unit quantity. And if I'm doing a LEED commercial interiors project, I'll go find LEED CI and I'll hit evaluate, and it'll take this product, it'll do the total cost, and it'll show me, without me knowing anything about all that underlying data, it'll do a full analysis of every single part of that LEED product. And since I only have one product, the product documentation is equal to the project documentation. But I'm going to add another product as we kind of go through this demo. But it's just that quickly. I went from, liking it. I knew it was already compliant because I'm on this main website, but I can analyze the product documentation. This was unheard of when I was first dreaming this up. I thought this is never going to happen, and really happy that my team and everyone else that worked on this project got us to the point where we can do that. Everything in this entire tool has been vetted for LEED. So no product in here that doesn't meet at least one of the qualifications for all the credits that related to materials are going to be on the system. So if I go into interior design and construction, I click on commercial interiors, I click on water efficiency. There's 39,000 products that meet the water efficiency prerequisite or the credit. And the reason why is that I have products that have declare, EPDs, HPDs, life cycle assessments, and WaterSense. WaterSense being the main driver because those are obviously the water saving products. So if I went in here and said, I want to check out this commercial water high efficiency urinal, it's a pint flush. Well, this has got a lot of information, but down here, I can actually see this little water savings calculator. So if I knew there are, say, 500 male occupants in the building, I want to do a 5-year payback analysis. Water might be $15.25 per 1,000 gallons. And my project is going to need 50 of these in the project. And the price of these are, let's just say they're $550. I go in here, and now just by changing these numbers out, it'll show me how much more will I spend on the better urinals. So they were not $350, they were $550. So this is the extra upfront cost, about $9,500. And every single month I'm saving money. So these products are eventually going to break even. And in May of 2024, I now have a positive $348 in cash flow, because every month I'm saving 28,000 gallons of water based on this, occupancy and this 5-year analysis. So yearly I'm saving 344,000 gallons. And over the course of this 5-year period, I'm going to save 1.7 million gallons. And we convert these gallons of savings by month, by year in total to the price, which is $15.25 per 1,000 gallons. And it's all contributing from a 1 gallon per flush code toilet to a 1 pint or 1.28 gallon per flush commercial urinal. So if I adjust, say it's a smaller building and it doesn't have as many males, it's going to actually take longer to pay back. Or if I'm looking at a 10-year payback schedule, it'll just recalibrate. The month stays the same, the year stays the same, but now I have a much larger total inflation rate for the total gallon saved. And then it'll give me the total savings over time of 20,000 in June of 2032. So it's a very straightforward way of doing it. I like that. If that's the right ROI chart, I can say, hey, I want to add that to my project that I'm doing right now for this demo, and I'm going to hit save. And just that quickly, now I have 2 things in that product. I have a human scale, and now the water savings calculator can be readjusted to whatever this project needs. And again, I need 50 of them, and they're going to be $350. Hit save. And I can go in here and mess around with the parameters. The baseline toilet was 250, and the gallons per flush we're comparing it to are 1 gallon flush. So then it just recalibrates, and I can change this length of analysis to 5, and we're good. So we're not going to break even in the 5 years. So this might make the owner say, I don't want to do this, but they still might want to save the 344,000 gallons that it'll save. But my male occupancy was still set at 100. So if we go back to 500, suddenly it's going to save money faster. So really quickly, this tool can be used like that by searching by the rating system you're chasing the credit contributions for. Another way to do it is just look for product categories. So I could say building finishes. So now I'm in building finishes. I'll click on a subcategory like carpet. And now my building has an evaluation of 19,000 results, and it could be all kinds of different carpet types. But now with that one filter of building finishes and carpet, I know that there's 6,000 that are buyer preferred, 3,000 that are cradle to cradle, 261 that are declare, 18,000 that carry an EPD, 18,000 are green label plus, 18,000 that have health product declarations, 30 that have an LCA, 30 that are living product challenge, 30 that are ANC 140, Indoor Advantage Gold, Indoor Advantage Regular, Green Guard, and Green Guard Gold. All of those things are available. So now I know kind of there's a lot of green certifications that deal with carpet. I also can open up the brand list, and here it'll show me every single brand available. So if you're dealing with a brand that wants to be specified by you, you want to do a good job, but make sure you're LEED compliant. This is a very quick way to make sure that if they're telling you that they're LEED compliant, that they're LEED compliant. I'm going to go in here and show you guys one of the cool features is since we're a structured database with 3,000 variables, it allows me to show you data that you really would have to go build all by hand every single time. Again, another project that I didn't like doing. So I'm a very lazy engineer. So I'm going to hit this comparison button, add to comparison. You'll see a thin blue line go around here. I'm going to compare that one to the Tarkett product. I'm going to go find another brand on here, Milliken. I'm going to add that to a comparison, go down a little further. I'll add the interface product, and then let's see if we get the universal fibers. I'll do that, the comparison. So if I go up to the top and go view comparison, now I've got all this product data back to back, side to side. So there's 2 interfaces up here at Tarkett, universal carpet fibers, and Milliken. So here, all along one row, I can see is one carbon neutral. Yep, this product is deemed carbon neutral. There's installation videos, location of manufacture for 2 of them. I go down there to technical information. I see which ones are green label plush, which ones are not. One over here is cradle to cradle silver. 4 of them have EPDs. 3 of them have extended producer responsibility. 2 have HPDs. 3 of them are ANSI certified, and then some of them have recycled content. So just that quickly, you can grab the data. And what's nice is I grab these results and I wanted to share with somebody else working on the project team. I'm going to put these in the chat. If you guys follow the link that I've just put in the chat, any one of you that click on that link, you're going to be able to see that information I got to share with everyone. That would be helpful. So I'm going to do that reshare again. So if you guys click on that link, now suddenly anyone else that's out there can click on that and say, oh, okay, these are the products that we're looking at on today's meeting. So just that quickly, they'll be able to see all that research data without you having to really do any kind of scavenger hunting on the web. And then you can always say, okay, this is a good one, but we're going to remove one because that doesn't make sense. We don't want to have two interfaces. And just that quickly, it'll be reshuffled. And now new data will be presented. And you can take a look at that. If you want to go back, you can always go back and say, I want to add that product to a project. So if I go back to my search results, I'll say, you know what, this is a good addition. Let me add that to my project. And just that quickly, I can add it to that CU example that we're doing. And now that has been added to the CU. And now all three products, along with all their data, are along for this ride. And I'm going to use 10,000 square yards. And I'll say it's $12.25 per square yard. Hit enter. And now again, this will reshuffle. And if I want to evaluate against LEED with that one click, it'll add this to the mix, do a total project. And now we have more credits that we apply to. And all those data points, including that homework on how that interface carpet helps, will all be done with all the homework math done underneath it. So you know exactly why these products are supporting. In the case of one that has water savings, you'll actually see the water gallon savings. So every single product that you find along this journey on ecomedes on the Better Materials platform, you'll always be able to kind of search by category. There's another way to do it. You can search by eco-label or certification. So if you're just looking for things that maybe have cradle to cradle, your client wants to do a lot of circularity, click on cradle to cradle. So now we have 4,000 results, and then you could search by category. So I can go in reverse and say, I'm gonna look for construction materials that have cradle to cradle. Oh, that's kind of cool. So now I've got all these products without having to go to the cradle to cradle website. I still have all that information available to me really quickly. So I could say, oh, I like that insulation. I'm going to add that to my project. I'll hit save. I'm going to add this countertop. Looks good. It's cradle to cradle. I'm going to add that to my project. And it starts to learn that you're adding it to the same project you're working on. So once you do 2 or 3 times of the same exact operation, it'll start adding that stuff to your project, and they'll know that you're adding it to the same project. So it kind of remembers the cache, and they'll go forward. So you can kind of keep doing that and finding products that meet cradle to cradle. Same thing if you're looking for something that's, say, maybe you got a health product declaration. I haven't taken out the construction materials, so now I can go through construction materials that have health product declarations, and then you'll see 1,800 results here. So even things like steel decking that have that information can be found. Things like adhesives, colorants, countertops. Again, I could add that to a project because it has the right designation. I need some sheetrock for my project. All the while, just further refining what you're looking for, but you're always looking for data using this intelligent filter and being able to go into it. So if we just wanted to look for just wallboard, I can go further into this and go, where's wallboard? I think it's the bottom. Hit wallboard and now have all the wallboard products that are meeting these guidelines. And it even shows me how many come from each. So USG has 21, Proform has 1, Permabase has 1, American Gypsum has 3. So if I wanted some American Gypsum ones, maybe that's who's talking to me about this project. Not all products have pictures because some of the eco labels don't send us pictures, but I can add that American Gypsum product to that project as well and go forward. So I'm going to go back to my project. And now I got 9 different products, all the associated data. I can go back in and type in whatever the number of units are, square foot of that. This is probably rolls. So I'll put in 250 for that. Again, you can do it whatever the way you need to categorize this. It could also just be one like this. So if all your drywall was that, you can just put in a 1 and then type in the total drywall cost in the project. So maybe it's $75,000. It works both ways. You could do a unit of 1 and then have the price, or you could do like units and then unit prices, however is easiest for you to do it. Now, let me add one more plumbing fixture just to show you how you can have multiple plumbing fixtures and then isolate each one of the solutions. So that's that. We'll add some toilets as well. And this demo with that, and then we'll have questions. So we've got 2 products from Toto, and I'll put in the quantity. Let's say. So now I'll have 2 lines. So one, the dual flush toilet will be there, but I need to update the number of occupants in this project. It needs male and female occupants because fixtures like urinals are only used by one, but then the female occupants will use obviously the dual flush toilet. So I can isolate this ROI chart to whatever unit I'm looking at, or combine the two and have the total water savings. So it's a really nice way of kind of isolating that data and putting it forward. But all this data, as long as you have it in the system, if any of the data underlying this changes, gets updated by a certification body, all that data flows in. And then at any time you can click on that product detail form and see things like EPDs or flush rates or anything like that directly from the manufacturer. If you need to contact the manufacturer, you can hit a little button, send a note, and if they're in our database, they'll get sent that note from you. You can just download the product PDF if you just want just that cut sheet essentially with all the data. You can also do that and generate it. Or like I already showed you, you could add it to a project or add it to a comparison. And then when you go back to the main view, you can actually check out those comparisons. So I'm going to stop here, answer any questions you guys might have. We've got a little poll question for you guys to answer if you don't mind, letting me know what you thought of that, that post-presentation evaluation. So if you guys could give me some feedback on scale of 1 to 4, 4 being the most impactful, would this be on your LEED project work? How much time do you think this will save you when working on a LEED project? And would you recommend the ecomedes platform to a colleague or industry partner? So thanks for jumping right on that poll. Seems you guys are doing it just as robustly as before. I appreciate that. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds. Thank you for answering the poll. For those of you that don't feel like asking a question, out loud or live in front of a group, that's fine. If you want to just send me emails with your questions, I'd be happy to answer those. That's fine. I understand. If your firm is doing a LEED project and you'd like to have like kind of a mini little training for the project team inside your firm, including everyone else that's doing kind of a charrette, let us know. We can do these in half an hour and deliver kind of a quick training on getting everyone up to speed, getting them an account, showing them how to go find product data on the system. It really makes projects go a lot more smoothly, and it kind of allows the architect, the engineer, and the contractor to all be on the same page of music. I hate it when teams like put out something and then the contractor can't find the data, they value engineer something in or out, and then you guys are struggling with compliance and things like that. The data is out there. We'd love to help you guys find it as quickly as humanly possible. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys for answering the questions. That was very enlightening, and I'll open it up for questions and Q&A. Sorry if the questions were not able to be answered by one of the anonymous attendees. A person asked who funded or funds ecomedes development efforts. So we are a software as a service company. So we get paid by people that want to use our platform. It's free to the user. So our main platform is called products.ecomedes.com. It's every eco label that we have a relationship with. The way that we look at eco labels, as long as they're being mentioned and utilized in LEED, Living Building Challenge, Green Globes with the federal green building procurement standards, we end up putting them in the system. We don't just put any data in here. It's not like that pay to play. We have these customers as manufacturers that also have their own versions of our platform. So they license the technology from us to have their own curated catalog. So like, I'll show you guys an example of what that would be in the real world. So like Miller Knoll is a client of ours. They use our entire database that I just showed you, but just to power their data set. So all their brands use it, and then their entire product catalog that's green has all that data. Now, this is a tool just designed for them and their sales reps. You can buy online, contact rep, but all the same data that you see on this site for them is also what we call syndicated to your site. So if you're using the GSA site, you'll see the same data. You'll see the same data for Herman Miller on products.ecomedes.com. They prefer if people go play around with their products only in their own showroom, essentially. So it's like a data showroom. They have all the same capabilities to do documentation and things like that. As long as you're signed in, you could do any work across any platform. We have what's called single sign-on, so it goes across the whole thing. We also customize our platform for like the federal government, their client. So we have a version of our products.ecomedes.com platform that's been pre-curated only to see the things that the federal government must do. So they have federal programs they must buy: BioPreferred, Energy Star, Safer Choice Water Sense, EPA recommendations, or additional high performance filters. So you can kind of think about ecomedes as a free consultant that you guys can use on your projects. And the US GBC has decided to support our platform and say, hey, here's all our rules. We'd like to have a platform dedicated just to LEED, which is what I showed you today. The GSA did the same thing and said, what if we could digitally hire your platform to be kind of a consultative support tool for everyone that's buying things for GSA buildings and the 300 million square feet that we operate, or help everyone that wants to sell us stuff to GSA clients. So if you are a cleaning products company and you're trying to do, selling, bath, janitorial, custodial services. So every single product that's aligned with the federal guidelines are right here. So if you are a cleaning contractor, custodial contractor, you can go in here and say, hey, I want to document that I am compliant with your federal guidelines. They could just say document, and we grab the data. And on behalf of that buyer or the seller, we say that you are compliant with the federal guidelines for bathroom and spa cleaners. So both the seller, the distributor, the janitorial contractor that might be using this, and the buyer, all basically within a couple seconds has the answer that they want. So we get paid by folks like that. So we support buyers on one side of the world that have standards and guidelines. And then we have sellers, which are like Miller Knoll or St. Gobain. And we are less than the cost of an intern, essentially, when you factor out how much data support we do for our clients. We are basically doing this at a very high rate of answering, and we don't have to ever have their sales reps struggle with, how do I answer this question for LEED or well compliance. I used to do those trainings in Las Vegas at national sales meetings, and it just got really complicated because these rating systems have gotten very complicated. So their life as a seller is getting complicated. Your life as an influencer or a buyer on a project has gotten complicated. So we decided to build a platform that speaks both buyer and seller. So hope that answered the question. Are there any others? Does anyone want to unmute themselves and brave a live question? You can email me after today. I'll be sending you an email by tomorrow with the video and the slides. If you want to organize a version of this for your own firm, let me know. Be happy to do that. Our goal is just to make it easier to do more green project decision making driven by data every single day. We help almost about 60,000 people a month make better decisions either on the buying side or the selling side. And we're really proud of making green a little bit easier to do because we know how much work it takes to actually find the data, analyze it, and document it. So thank you for the hard work you guys are doing on the projects you're working on. There's got to be another question. Please. Either that or this was super easy to understand. I'm hoping that's the answer. Well, I will give you guys back some time in your day. There's 12 more minutes left in the hour. So if you have any questions, please email me. Again, I'll send you an email tomorrow with the video, the slides, the CEU information will be in the email, in the body of the email. But I thank you all for taking the time today to learn from ecomedes. And if there's any way that we can help you in the future, please let us know. We'd love to help you in any way that we can. Thank you all.
Thank you.